Circle Podcast with your host, the Fifth General, Zaccheus and Cinemascapes. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
What's up? Yeah, it was good, man.
All right, so the main topic of the day is going to be about J. Cole's album, KOD. We're going to have a discussion / review of the project. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about some recent events that's happened over the week, and also a quick wrap up on the Starbucks situation. All right, so Cinema, you go first. Tell us about what happened with the Waffle House situation. Was it the Waffle House or was it another?
It's a Waffle House,
right? Okay.
Tennessee.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, basically, long story short, a man walks into a Waffle House with a automatic weapon for whatever reasons. He was apprehended today as we were recording. He murders 4 people.
Oh.
And, I didn't get the brother's name.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to get it. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, you'll get it while I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a brother who doesn't want to be hailed a hero, but he is a hero. He wanted to survive. It's a situation he wanted to survive, and he basically saw an opening, and with no weapon, unarmed, wrestled. He got hit on his left shoulder and his bruise. They had a wrestle fight. He wrestled away a gun. He wrestled away an automatic weapon with no weapon. Tossed it. Had the mind to be smart. Toss it over the counter. We'll get into that. And basically, had to, basically talk the guy down to where the guy fled the scene.
I got his name. 29-year-old James Shaw. He tackled and disarmed a suspected white supremacist terrorist by the name of Travis Ranking, who shot up a Waffle House in Antioch, Tennessee.
Yep.
All right, go ahead, Cinema.
So basically, he was on the Today Show this morning, and very humble dude, shared his story, and he said, the attention I'm getting, he felt the 4 people who died in their family should be getting. Very humble and wise dude. And he's not saying, he's not taking the hero mantra like I did anything. He said, I wanted to survive. He's being quite honest,
Right.
I wanted to survive, and I saw an opportunity. He said, and he was thinking about his child. He said, I didn't, it didn't hit me till I was getting treated in the ambulance, and I thought about my child, man.
Wow.
And that hit me and it, just the will to survive, averted. It could have been more casualties, even though the guy fled and they had to catch him later, but man,
oh yes.
I ain't gonna front. Because until you're in something like that, you don't know what you're going to do.
Nah, that's all instinct.
You don't.
That was all instinct, and, had the, the presence of mind to get the weapon away from everybody.
Yeah.
So when the police come, there's nobody holding a weapon, and, it was easily diffused. Brother had bruises, scrapes, whatever, but he's alive and more people alive. Rest in peace, and our sincere condolences to the people who lost someone. But man, what a story.
Wow. God bless that brother, man.
Yeah, most deaf.
Yeah, because he could have died,
Yeah, and hearing him speak, it's
he was humble
people
about it.
Yeah, very humble about it. Not like, oh, I was, you hear people say stuff. He's like, nah, I just wanted to live, and I saw opportunity.
That's good.
Oh,
wow.
Amazing, man.
Well, God bless him and his family. Rest in peace to all those who lost their lives, and God bless their families. And we'll see what happens and give y'all an update on that. Now, Zaccheus, you had something to add in today about the sister in another Waffle House, by the way.
Crazy. Oh, crazy.
Oh, you're talking about the one the cop said and threatened to break her arm?
Yeah, she was getting
I
arrested.
saw that video.
She had a strapless skirt on, and as they had her on the floor, had her stuff all down. And anyway, Zaccheus, you go into it because I'll let you talk about that more.
It was more like when I was reading it. See, I see her name is Shekina something. When I was reading it, saying to myself, why are they gonna arrest her for utensils?
There you go.
No.
Well, okay, now, do you know?
I just scratched my head with that one.
Real quick, do you know why the cops were called? Do you know why the cops were called, Zaccheus?
I think it was because of over utensils.
So who called the cops? The management of Waffle House?
The manager of Waffle House called the cops because she did not utensils. Now, I didn't know that in some restaurants you have to buy utensils. I thought when you buy a meal, it comes automatically with the utensils. I didn't know you had to purchase utensils. I didn't know that.
Wait, hold on. They called the cops on her because she goes to a Waffle House franchise, and they tell her, in order to be served in that restaurant, that she has to buy utensils.
When she purchases a meal, she gotta buy utensils. Crazy. I won't go to that restaurant. You gotta buy utensils, plastic utensils.
You have to buy plastic utensils. Okay, so can you bring your own?
They said she objected.
I'm asking because I've only been to a Waffle House one time in my life, and I've never heard of this when I went over 10 years ago. So I just need clarity here.
I have one right over the Maryland line from Delaware here.
Okay.
In the last couple of years I haven't had to buy utensils. That may be that particular chain's policy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I never really too much go into Waffle House too much, but I didn't know that you had to buy utensils in any Waffle House or any restaurant for that matter.
Yeah.
I see her when I seen the two cops that surrounded her.
Yeah, but basically
questioning her and pulling her.
Yeah, but she objected to paying for utensils. And then, the police is standing by. The Sauerland Police Department says the city's public safety director and the mayor are aware of the arrest and video and, the confrontation. And that, the NAACP is calling for the arrest troubling, and picketers stood outside the restaurant with signs.
Crazy. That's because that was unnecessary.
It's it's in Alabama.
Exactly. Look at the history. Look at the history of Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Alabama in itself, the South. We look at all of that, but still, the way how she was mishandled was unbelievable. Over utensils, that could have been easily directed in a different way or handled in a different way, because throwing down on the floor like that was unbelievable. This is not the second. This is not the. It's happened many times in history. Many times. These are just one of the stories that's been exposed as being mishandled and being misused. There was one time when a sister was being mishandled. Was at she was at a party, a college party. Slammed her on the floor. She got to be about 18. Well, those officers slammed her on the floor and then two handcuffs on her.
She's 25.
From the Waffle House, right? She's 25.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All because she refused to buy utensils. Now.
And you got the quote from the officer, "I'll break your arm. That's what I'm about to do."
Yes.
Well, he said in the video, "Why are you arresting me?" And then he said, "Well, I heard the F-bomb." So he's basically trying to justify that he's arresting her because she cussed.
And the way they were grabbing her arm,
Number one, there has to be a protocol. You know, what are you here for? F-bomb is not a crime.
No.
When did somebody get prosecuted for cursing? You know.
Yeah, man, the cops do it all the time.
Yeah, but
with
still,
us, it's still unlawful and a violation of our civil rights. Yes,
right.
But the thing is, going forward, nothing's gonna. Okay, if somebody walked into my restaurant, this is a bogus policy. If I had this policy, if somebody orders food and I told them, yeah, you got to buy forks and spoons, and then they say no, that's their business. Eat with your hands. No, I'm not. I would never have a restaurant like that because that is ridiculous. But what I'm saying is that I call bull crap. I call bull crap on this one. I call bull crap because even McDonald's gives you a straw. So I don't want to hear that you got to buy utensils at a Waffle House somewhere in Alabama. I mean, they probably in the same area where they probably hung a black man. Sound like the kind of area we talking about. But ain't no way that's going to happen. No, I'm not going for that. I guess we'll be adding that to the boycott list.
Exactly.
Okay, 50 cents for plastic utensils. Okay, we ran a school.
50 cents?
Yeah, but
I mean,
so add it to the bill.
They're not even 5 cents a bill.
But why not just add it to the bill then?
No, but this is what caused the confrontation.
Yeah.
Good.
My bad, my phone. Go ahead.
You know that if you ask for plastic utensils to dine in only, that there's a 50 cent. But if I ate out, they're free. They did,
don't make no sense.
but they did provide the utensils before they took their order. Now there's a long thing. Some people said they were drunk and stuff. There's a long article in Post if you want to get deeper into it. You know, even if you're an officer and you smell intoxication, you know, there's a protocol for that.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, that's Alabama. So police policy and police procedure is different state to state, county to county, town to town,
city to city.
So that might just be the norm. Even you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
And so
it's just bogus.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, if you don't have a standard, like you got stand your ground in Florida, you're gonna have a problem because every place is different. And if the law is already stacked against you, and I know it's hard to move.
Well,
a lot of people who moved out of Florida or people who ain't even gigging in Florida. Right now.
I'm about to make my grand point here. And
you go ahead.
And that is, you don't necessarily have to be doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We always getting the cops called on us.
Mm-hmm.
I just spoke to Zaccheus off air earlier today about this issue. And the one thing I told him is this. Every time you turn around, there's going to be stuff being made up about us. It's about who owns the place. Because that woman did not commit a crime, but that doesn't matter in the court of public opinion. She got the cops called on her. You get the cops. I said to him that if a place is not, most businesses are not in this nation are not black owned. I get it. So I know for my people listening, like, well, we don't own all these places. Okay, but the ones we do own, patronize. But for the ones we don't own, for the ones that are not black owned, always watch your surroundings. If you don't see black people in there, then you might want to go somewhere else. I'm just saying, it's not a surprise because the situation with Starbucks, and this is a good segue, those brothers were the only black people in that Starbucks in the downtown Center City area of Philadelphia. I don't know how that was possible, but they were the only black folks in that store at the time.
Because it's daytime. You know, Center City, nighttime, you go see shows and stuff, then it'll change. During the day, it's more the business crowd.
Okay.
And so But it was around the time like 4:30, 4:35 in the afternoon. It was switching over. But that lady, it's come up. She's cut employees' hours, and that's not the first time she's called that quick.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
But that's on local news, and that's my local place, and you're not going to see that on national media. But 2 or 3 shows ago, I talked about that. So let's move on. And talking about your surroundings, I was in Kentucky. Me and my boy were driving back from Nashville to where I went to Bible school, Columbus. And we were in Kentucky, but not in a city. And we saw a Kentucky Fried Chicken. And then we all looked, and then we got it. And then, the question was asked, is this to stay or to go? And I didn't want to eat in my car, but I said to go. And then I kind of ordered something I can eat in the car because my surroundings said, don't sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And get out of here quick. And when everyone heard to go, it seemed like the place untensed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for helping my point, because that's what I was saying.
See, being from New York.
Yeah, Staten Island at that.
Is Staten Island, which we have stories about running out of Rosebank when I was a kid, because even the A&P was on the edge. But that's another episode.
Yeah.
But basically, once I said, I said to go, I said, I got to get where I'm going. And I kind of said it in a way so everyone could hear that.
Mm-hmm.
So now, okay, you're passing through. Okay, you're fine then, because the niggy ain't going to stay here. That's the clean way to say it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be, and we was out because you have to be aware, even around here in certain parts. You just look.
You got to be around everywhere, and my thing is a place that if I don't see, it's one of those things where if I don't see my people somewhere, then they got the word about something that I haven't yet. So with that being said, I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, I see black people in this restaurant 2 blocks down that's full, but in this one, they ain't in here. Okay, well, let me assess the situation. Okay, do I see any black people working in here? No. Okay, I have a choice to make. I'm either going to patronize here, or I'm just going to leave and go to the next one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just what. Yeah, but that's a black struggle, and that's the point. That's not something white people have to deal with.
There was a black person working at the Starbucks. Was the manager? But
yeah, exactly.
It was.
You can't go into business in Central City and not see a black person working in Philadelphia. Come on.
Yeah.
Their hours got cut, but she couldn't totally get rid of them. She was just trying to influence it so they wouldn't work there.
Well, see, the thing is that they kind of shook the story up a bit. At first, they tried to say the manager got fired. You know what? Technically, she got moved.
Yeah,
she'll be at another Starbucks.
Nah, they had a mutual agreement. Now she's separated from the company after the president came to town. That happened.
Okay. When the president came to town. Okay. Yeah. You know why? You know why that happened? Because when everybody found out that she was only being moved, people who were protesting and boycotting Starbucks said that's not enough. So that probably forced them into a situation to do that.
You know what happened? And let me speak on this real quick.
Yeah.
This is how it unfolded. No one knew. They're on GMA. Then GMA found out 2 minutes.
Good. What's GMA? Good Morning America, Good Morning America. Okay, I just wanted to say that for people listening. Go ahead.
Right. Good Morning America. They were interviewed. Then that day, you had the police chief apologize.
I see that.
Yeah. That fast, because the mayor condemned it immediately. Mayor Kinney condemned it immediately that night. I saw that on the news. We didn't have to wait for the mayor to condemn it. He was careful with his words, towards how the police handled it, but he didn't like it. He says we need to reevaluate. but he didn't go over there because no one knew it was 2 minutes yet. Once it was 2 minutes, well, everything changed. Chief apologizing, person gone from the company. And see, that's how, when you deal with the stereotype, I get a lot of pushback from my, I've been blocking a lot of them quietly, but, I usually get pushback from my evangelical friends because I'm not going to mention the Bible school I went to, because that it's not even the school. It's the attitude of these particular people, because everybody I know from the school doesn't have that attitude. Mm-hmm. But I usually get pushed back when I put something. But when I put 2 minutes up, it was so quiet. You would think I was in the forest hunting.
Wow.
You crickets. Because 2 minutes, we sit down, ask to go to the bathroom. Cops are there handcuffing you. And that's why I'm like, you're not asked to leave. You're arrested. That was the outrage.
Well,
that was one of the outrages. You're arrested.
Well,
and you haven't been in the place for 2 minutes. And then there was a tweet.
The woman lied because they weren't asked to leave.
Right.
She lied.
They were not.
Mm-hmm.
She lied about it. She called the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And when everything came out and when they built the timeline, that's what everything changed. And there's a joke on Twitter where the girl said, I'm sitting in Starbucks and this black guy comes in. Is this one of the Starbucks that let black people use the bathroom? People, the whole thing was when the guy hit town, he wasn't playing. He's like, that's unacceptable. Because, a franchise like that, and you're losing, and it's 2 minutes?
Yeah.
That's that's a whole different game. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're dealing in there, if you're not from the Philly area, it's a lot of black people.
Yeah.
Even in Center City, and there's people employed there. But you go there nights, you have the daytime, you got the business crowd, and then you got the clubs and stuff. Like when I went to see Far Side, it was black, white, all around. When I went to see Far Side, it was like multicultural, but there's a lot of black people, Went to McDonald's, all black people working in there. I was like, all right, I can eat.
I got a question. I got a question for Zaccheus. Because in 3 more minutes, we're going to talk about the J. Cole. So I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I probably didn't because I didn't know this yet. We were talking about Starbucks, but I guess I wanted to state my opinion. They said they're gonna do this whole thing about sensitivity training, all this other stuff, whatever, racial. They're gonna teach about diversity and whatever. I mean, you hear this every time. You hear this every time a cop gets away with murdering us. Oh, we're just gonna do more police reform and training. It hasn't helped. So I think when they do what they do with closing down these stores or whatever and doing what they're gonna do, that's not gonna help. This is how you make me happy. What you do is this. What Starbucks should do, and I'm gonna piggyback off what the intelligent brother Tariq Nasheed says. He said if Starbucks is really sorry, then what they need to do is take all the money that us as black folks have patronized into that company and use that money and donate that money towards organizations that fight against police brutality. Basically the same thing Kaepernick been raising money for. That lets us know you're truly sorry. That's not gonna happen. Yeah. What's gonna happen is there's gonna be another situation after they do this sensitivity training. Or what I keep calling it sensitivity training. Moral training, cultural diversity, whatever they're gonna do. My question to you, Zach, is going forward, do you think black folks or anybody with any moral conscience should still support Starbucks in the same way they did before they start doing these classes?
I don't think it should be like a Starbucks basically should You asking if they should take sensitivity classes? The NYP police?
No, they're gonna do it. I'm saying, do you think black people or anybody else for that matter should still support this business even after this happens?
I think we should try to develop and have our own business, but
exactly.
Still, I think, I believe that, but also, I'm not a big Starbucks fan, and I don't, I think what really matters if we put up a big boycott of not supporting Starbucks, I think what's going to happen, Starbucks is going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, look.
A whole lot of money, so in a way, and it was a boycott, which I thought was going to happen because a lot of us say we're going to do something. A lot of us are not on the same. A lot of us are not on the same
code
page. We're not together. When there's no unison without folks.
Yeah.
So much when it comes to boycotting, when it comes to doing certain things, like staying in unison. It's not like the 50s when Rosa Parks was going, and then
you have Montgomery bus boycott for 300 something days,
and you have the demonstrations where the brothers and sisters walk into the Woolworths in a civil rights movement and sat in a counters, and then so much of us was doing it during that era. The freedom I call it the freedom ride era. So much was doing it, but I know for even if we say we're gonna boycott it, it's not gonna be supported as much. So I could say, yeah, let's boycott it, and I agree in boycotting it because I believe that it was a stereotypical move, but I have to say this and I have to mention this. That's why I say a lot of us are not on the same page, because there's been a lot of brothers and sisters I've been running into saying that the brothers were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you heard the same thing too.
Yes, you hear it every time something happens. There's some coon somewhere.
From even the people that I even went to high school with, that I still keep in contact with, they keep on saying that they're wrong. They're wrong. They should have. When you go into any store or any place of service, you should buy. Don't just sit there. Buy something to show your support. You're sitting in their facility. Buy something to show your support. Even if you say you want to use the bathroom, you go and you have to buy something. Okay. I've been hearing that's been a lot of our folks, not even the white folks, but I've been hearing a lot of that from our folks. And
Starbucks, you can sit in Starbucks and study.
Thank you. Let's unpack that. Let's unpack this.
You finish your thought and then we'll unpack.
Yeah, because we have to unpack this. I'll tell you why. Why we have to unpack this. Because a lie not corrected can become a truth. So, No, I'm not saying you're lying, Zaccheus. I'm saying I want to combat the talks that are always on the talking points of white supremacy. That's why we always have to unpack these. And that right there, you're always going to find some coon speaking on that side. I do agree with, if you go into any store, that you should. The point is, we need to be specific to Starbucks. Starbucks has a motto of it being a meeting place, and it's not so much that the brothers refused to buy something. They were waiting for their person that they was having a meeting with. I think if they didn't call the cops on them and let the guy show up and let them have their meeting, they probably would have been influenced to buy something. But they didn't give them that time. They only gave them 2 minutes. And that's what I want to say to all of those people who say what they say. And forget all of y'all. Whoever who thinks that. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? You could be, I don't care if you look like me, you could be as black as a purse. I just don't like the fact that I keep hearing this type of stuff. This is why we're not on the same code. This is why we're not in unison. You know what I mean? We need to move over to J. Cole, but you know what? Cinema, I need to let you get in here because you got something to say.
If I'm just sitting down and asked to go to the bathroom and I just got in there, Number one, it take about 2 minutes to walk into a Starbucks and find a seat because they're usually packed. So if they found a seat in 2 minutes, they were doing good.
Jesus.
Let's talk about somebody who frequented Starbucks but hasn't been to one since then.
Mm-hmm.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Who loves fraps.
Yeah.
Who buys even the cold bottle drinks, who used to buy the pound cake they sell there because it was Bomb Squad.
Yeah.
All right.
And use that natural sugar they got in the brown pouches. Come on. I've done homework in Starbucks on Staten Island, and we know Staten Island because we all grew up there.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know,
the most racist borough in New York City.
I mean, we're talking about the Starbucks
today,
and we're talking about Starbucks at the mall. I was able to do that, and that's not the black area of Staten Island.
Heck no.
If I can sit down in Starbucks, use Wi-Fi. Me and Elijah Miguel sat in a Starbucks in hoodies and didn't get the police called on us.
2 minutes though. They were targeted.
These brothers.
They were targeted when they walked in. Obviously,
right.
2 minutes.
These brothers. They didn't have on dress clothes, but they didn't have on hood clothes. They had on casual clothes. I'm talking about me and my friends going to Starbucks, chilling in the back corner, just getting, waiting to order because we were waiting for somebody. The person got there, then we ordered. It's like going to a restaurant. A restaurant even understands. The waitress will come and you say, I'm waiting for somebody. Then it's understood.
Right.
Anywhere else, it's not like, oh, they were never really approached. So how is it, they didn't get a chance.
Yeah. It takes 2 minutes to look at a menu if you don't know what you want.
No, it takes 2 minutes to sit down in a Starbucks.
Yeah.
They just sat down.
Yeah.
They just, we're not even going there. We're talking Starbucks.
Yeah.
We know how, you're in Starbucks. What do? You split up to find seats. Oh, I got something. And you're on the phone with the cops. You didn't really talk to them. And then that's why they felt afraid for their lives. They're just sitting down and, what are you doing here? Like 4 or 5 cops roll up on them.
And
like, huh?
Yeah, that's a lot of cops to be showing up for that situation.
Exactly.
You know why? Because she said she lied. Oh, they refused to leave. First off, they were never even asked to leave. I believe if they were asked to leave, they would have left. And I can prove that they would have left. You know why? Because of how mild-mannered they were when they got arrested. They didn't even say a word, practically.
Even when you saw them interview,
they didn't even get Mirandized, and they didn't even talk. But these are two brothers who actually understand police brutality and the system of white supremacy. Because if they didn't, then they would be acting out of line.
Right, and if you see the GMA interview, you'll even see that more.
Yeah, you can tell how they carry themselves.
And so, back to what he was saying, for you to think in that situation that someone's wrong, it's like, okay, we have the people who know, but we just keep our cool. But you've been browbeaten into submission on the subject.
Oh,
it's ridiculous. You sound like the slaves. Don't go over there. You're cutting too much, because then they're gonna think we could do more tomorrow.
Wow. Cinema, we got to move on. We got to move to J.
Yeah,
Cole,
we're gonna move on. But one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I usually don't go in on these.
Go ahead.
But I am tonight.
Please do. Please do.
And then we'll chill out with J. Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. If you want to have a slave mentality, don't try to put it on me. I'm gonna say this. I've been, you know how many ministries and stuff I've worked for.
Go ahead.
In a church.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with a small church now. My mother's my pastor. I don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I've stuck my neck out for a lot of these movements and these things, the evangelical perspective for years.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me who I've heard from in the last 10 years.
0.
Zero. Oh, brother, you're so great. You have such a servant's heart. Because if you're not gonna step and fetch it, they don't want you around. I ain't afraid to lose none because ain't nobody calling me.
Mm-hmm.
They always say, well, you know what, brother, we love you, brother. We definitely support you, my brother. We love you. And
exactly.
And you do, we super support you. Man, I could talk about that for days and days. But come on, we love you to come back and minister again.
But now, with that, I'm going to get to my point. There's a reason why I said on one of my songs, we're not here for the pacified to be pacified. We're pacifiers. When you're pacified, when a child's pacified, they're quieted. Usually doesn't mean what they had to deal with was dealt with. They just want the kid quiet.
Yes.
And what they've done in some churches, and I'm not saying it all, because I got pastors who are not black who I will go to bat for, and they have my back to this day. In states like West Virginia, where you wouldn't think that would, you think you would be afraid to go up there if you were black. And I could go up there. I got people who don't have a racist bone in their body, who when we talked about things, they're straight honest. So this ain't to everybody. This is to those who the shoe fits. So don't think you don't think I'm going there. But the majority of my experience is when I don't just zippity-doo-dah behind their little thing, and you think it's time for the black boy to sit down and shut up, and boy being disrespectful, by the way, then you don't need to be here. I have no problem walking out of a situation like that because I don't hate you. But if you're not going to hear the truth and you just want to go with a stereotype, and then you want me to go with a stereotype when I know it's that stereotype's not true, we got a problem. And y'all need to check out Christianity in America. There's a reason why I call it Christianese. Because when you mix your country's philosophies with something where if you read the Bible, our country's philosophies don't drive Christianity, like these political people call themselves Christians, but they're doing stuff behind closed doors and they don't live the life, they ain't no Christian. In the same
it's just a fancy,
in this situation, if a black guy can't walk into your store and sit down in 2 minutes and get himself together, you're a racist. And you're not even the owner of that thing. You're a manager. So you're making your owner look bad. And that's why the owner came down the way they did, because owner wasn't even down with that. So you're going to have sensitivity training. What's going to happen? Your racism, your bigotry, your classism is going to be hidden. Because sometimes it's classism. Because if you're rich and black, you can chill. But if you're broke, then I don't want you.
I guess,
but that's that's another thing. You know what I'm saying?
Because those brothers wasn't broke. They wasn't rich, but they wasn't broke.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. That was racism because they wasn't broke. That wasn't classism in that case. This is how you tell the difference. If I'm being honest, this is how you tell the difference. Now those guys are in the class. Wasn't classism then. You can't claim that. It wasn't bigotry because that lady has no power to be a bigot. She's an employee managing something for her owner. It was a straight up racist move. And that's how you know the difference. And that's why you'll cry racism, because there's no other means in most of these situations. These cops aren't richer than these people. It's not classism. It's not bigotry. It's racism. And that's what I wanted to unpack.
Word. Zaccheus, go ahead. You was about to say something.
Exactly.
We're still number one on the list as far as the most racist country in the world. I was just looking at the stats of the most racist country, top 10. You know, India's number 2.
Right. A lot of countries got better who used to be high on the list. And a lot of things have changed in a lot of the country.
Because
like care. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because I agree with the reading when I was reading. It said that that the killing of black men and females in this country it just goes to show you that how hard racism is, that and the cops has no remorse. It shows they have no repercussions of their actions towards us. I was reading it and I was like, yes, this is so true. Because it's true. They get off with no repercussions. And it's true. And I was reading that the laws will change, where the law is probably going to the Supreme Court, where it will, I think this year, where a cop can and get off automatically without any case. It's being passed. I think Trump is going to sign that bill. It's going to be passed. So it goes to tell you that U.S. is still number 1 on the list when it comes down to that. When it comes to stereotyping, and when it comes down to racism, and it comes down to police brutality. Exactly. And I support Kaepernick 100%. Let me tell you something. For coonery is big, man. A lot of our folks said, "Oh, Kaepernick, we'll just continue to watch NFL. Kaepernick, he's losing money. Don't worry about Kaepernick. He made a foolish move. He made a crazy move by not singing. He could have been making lots of money now, bro. Because a lot of our folks get it twisted. They think because it don't happen to them, because it doesn't happen to them, it can't happen. It can't happen because it don't happen to you. It ain't gonna happen. It happened to them. It ain't gonna happen to you. Be stereotyped anywhere you go. Because I strongly believe when brothers was as soon as they walked in, they were like eyed.
They were
targeted. Eyeing them.
They were obviously targeted. Exactly. 2 minutes. I've took longer than 2 minutes to decide if I wanted a sausage egg McMuffin or a double quarter pounder with cheese. So exactly. Obviously they were targeted. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. We don't catch it right away, but you go to anywhere that is heavily.
Let me tell you something. I've only got something from Starbucks one time in my life, and I was recently last year, and I was in there for 5 minutes trying to figure out what I wanted, because number one, I don't drink coffee, so I'm like, well, what the heck can I get in here that's not coffee? I must have spent 5 minutes in there trying to figure out what I wanted. 5. Oh, I took my 5 minutes, and I got me a sweet tea, and the tea wasn't sweet enough. I had to put sugar in it.
Yeah, that's no sugar.
So I was like, man, I wasted money here. This was overrated. I ain't coming back in here no more. All right, we gotta move on to good Lord. All right, so whatever's left of the show, we gotta talk about J. Cole. All right, who wants to go first? Who heard the album? Who likes it? Who doesn't like it?
Okay, I'll go.
All right.
Since I've done all this unpacking. I'm pulling it up. Basically, okay.
All right, first impressions. Start with that.
First, okay, that's why I'm looking at the track.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already told y'all, if you've been listening to the show, you know what kind of rap. But I like J. Cole, but I ain't gonna front. 2014 Forest Hill Drive is the album that caught my attention with him.
Yep.
So it's past.
Same here.
It's past the album where he became popular.
Yeah.
So basically, this is from somebody. My objectivity is from somebody who's listened to 2014 Forest Hills Drive, For Your Eyes Only, and KOD.
Yeah.
So So
All right.
you understand where this is coming from. This isn't based on his complete work. Like, I've heard those albums, but I haven't really listened to those albums like I listened to Forest Hills Drive and For Your Eyes Only.
Right.
Like, yeah. So basically, from the intro, KOD, KOD, Photograph, The Cutoff, first 4 tracks, he was doing a flow that, it's the flow of the day. I understand. The album caught my attention about track 5, which is ATM.
Yeah.
And then Motivate, I don't remember that. Well, I do remember the track, but I'm like, Motivate, Kevin's Heart a little bit. Then Brackets was a no. Yeah. But Kevin's Heart wasn't too bad. I'm not even going to say that. But once I get to track 9, the last 4 tracks on this album, you have, how you have your artist playlist. When I've heard these 4 tracks, I got a J. Cole list from all the albums. The last 4 tracks on this album went in that list in the order that they are on this album. Once I added
it ended
Friends,
strong.
Window Pay, in 1985.
Yeah. I got to hear that track. 1980. He has a track called 1985?
Yeah. Last track on the album.
Last track on the album.
I got to hear that, man.
So, but when you hear the entire album, you hear what he's trying to do from beginning to end.
Yep.
As a complete album, I wouldn't say it's the best album out of the ones I've listened to. A total of 3. So this is based on 3 albums of his.
Yeah.
Like, because the other albums I've heard songs, but I've may or may not heard the complete album in the proper sequence. That meaning not that I'm not familiar with material from previous albums. It's like I really probably haven't sat down and listened to the album A to Z the way you're supposed to listen to an album to have a proper opinion of the album.
Yeah.
Now I got songs from those eras, but since we're talking albums, the album, the concept of the album is genius to me.
Yeah.
Let me say that.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Go into the concept.
The concept, you're going, it's a message that he's said on another album, but he's saying it a different way so another audience can hear it. And it's extremely personal. It's about the Black experience, even industry and things. It's things that affect us. And then with it saying, like I was telling Fifth off air, like some of the songs where I don't particularly like the flow he's using, I was listening to the lyrics and I like what he was saying. Because the content was still there to me. And then I had before I even heard the album, the day the album came out, I had somebody I was following on Instagram was just like, dissing, hating on him. And I'm like, I ain't even got time for you, I'm like, then I listened to the album. I'm like, did he even listen to the whole, how somebody listens to a track or 2 and then, the album's, because see, in our day, I'll explain this real quick. In our day, you have to listen to an album A to Z to get the whole message of the album.
You still do.
Because you still do properly. I'm talking about with real artists. I'm saying the way artists do now, they just do hot singles with fillers.
True.
But if someone's going to make an album, like this is as an album, it's a conceptual album. And the point of it is he drives the point in the stake in at 1985 in a way that you don't expect it, which was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So basically, the album wasn't that bad that I turned it off. Because that happened, something we didn't get to review because I'm not going to say what album it was because I told Fifth I can't get through this. He knows what it is, but I am not saying that on air. I ain't got time for beef.
If they heard last episode, they might figure it out.
Dang. Savage. But basically, so we're not dealing with a whack album. We may be dealing with something that a sound I particularly don't listen to all the time, but I'm familiar with because my nieces listen to it all the time. And, it's not my thing. But the whole thing is if you're doing something hot in another style, it's hot. If it's not, it's not. If you can't, because there's some modern songs that catch me and I'm like, oh, I thought I wouldn't like this, but that's kind of hot. There's some stuff
Cinema,
like Cardi.
This is what I want to do, Cinema. Let me get
Cool.
back. Let me get back to you because it's a lot to unpack. Zaccheus, do you have anything to say on J. Cole's project or his career up to this point?
Well, I have a question. Do you think that J. Cole brings that golden era feel to hip hop today?
I think. Wait, you're asking me or Cinema?
Probably either.
Okay, I'll go.
You go.
I think J. Cole has been inspired by the golden era. He's been inspired by. He's been inspired. Okay, he's been inspired by a collective of a couple of people I could think of. One is Nas. One is Jay. I think he might be inspired by Mos Def a little bit.
Definitely.
Okay. And then he is inspired by his peers, which is Kendrick, Jay Electronica. So I'll say even Big Sean. So he has his own style. Don't get me wrong, but he's also as a peer. His peers of Alex and Kanye West. These are people who I think he probably likes musically and probably looks up to and respects. Is that golden era? I mean, if you're gonna take Nas and Jay and Pac, I mean, yeah, I'll say that. Does he fully practice his interpretation of his inspiration from the golden era? Not on this album, but he has before. He's shown flashes. Has he cemented himself in hip hop today as a prominent rapper with a name and respect? Yes, and that's why we're talking about him. Because there's a lot of guys who drop albums, but they don't really have an effect on the game like him or Kendrick does. I'm going to go ahead and say that this album might have the same impact on the game currently that Kendrick Lamar's last album did. Damn.
Right.
It's quite possible.
Right.
I think we was looking for that for his album before that, For Your Eyes Only. That didn't happen. But I think on this one it might. But I think For Your Eyes Only is better. I might have an unpopular opinion, but I think For Eyes Only, even though I thought the pacing was slower than Forest Hills Drive, I think this album lyrically is not as good as what he was saying lyrically on For Your Eyes Only. I felt that he made more of a statement of what kind of MC he was going to be on For Your Eyes Only, more so than he did on this album. This album wasn't for that. I think Forest Hills and For Your Eyes Only was a Cole making a statement on how much of an MC he is, because Born Sinner was commercial. He's had commercial success with Born Sinner. I will say that also, that this project, the reason why I'm saying the impact is going to be different is because the particular concept of the album and subject matter and song selection. I think that's the reason why I'm saying this album will have a particular. And also, we were looking for him. See, when we ain't looking for you, you could come up with something and pass up unless your album is classic. But when we looking for you, when you drop something, that's when you're most anticipated. We were looking for Cole. That's what was going on. And Cole's concept was a pretty simple one, and that is we're in this modern day era of the glorification of hard drugs in hip hop, and that it never was cool back in the days. You got clown You got clown for smoking crack. These days, people are talking about popping. This is the Molly Percocet era. No pun intended to Future. But basically, what we're going on in this modern day rap is the Molly Percocet era. And Cole was attacking it. And his first half of the album. Okay, now we get into my review, I guess. So first half of the album, he was kind of lyrically, I felt that he wasted time giving us a parody of this carbon copy modern day flow on trap beats. I felt he wasted his time. He didn't have to do 5 songs of that, or almost 6 dang near. But I get what he was doing. Because when you got around tracks 7 to 12, the album took a turn.
Yeah.
Because now it was, okay, well, here's the consequences and the results and when you deal with these type of drugs. This album was an actual completed concept.
Right.
More so than For Your Eyes Only. For Your Eyes Only was, I'm doing this for my real fans who support me. Because J. Cole fans bought For Your Eyes Only.
Including me.
Exactly. No, well, yeah, J. Cole, I am too.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So and that's the point I'm making. For Your Eyes Only, the track is called For Your Eyes Only. That's pretty obvious what he's trying to say. This is for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
This album, KOD, was, I'm making a statement.
And it was a good one. The album is good, but it's not great. I will get into my score at the end. Cinema, let me hand it back to you. You have more to say on the project. Yeah, but I'm glad you jumped in because I was going to ask you to go deeper because and that's why the last 4 tracks because he started really killing you for once an addict.
Yes. He got in your mind. He got in your head there. And your heart.
Yeah. If you haven't dealt with drug abuse, there's a reason why our guys sold, but not to people's families and stuff. They sold to like the head, crack, they made fun of street people and people who were, there's a reason. You didn't bring that stuff in your house when we were growing up. Mm-hmm. And you didn't put your friends on it either. That was considered foul. Mm-hmm. You put your enemies on it, didn't care about them.
Yeah.
And my bad. That's medicine alarm. Basically, what I took away from this, he slipped a song in there too about the cutoff, about people who living off of them. Because the whole album is
track
about
number
that.
4.
The cutoff. That's another. I wanted to unpack that in the midst of all that culture, he kind of put some people on notice who were probably close to him.
He did.
Which I kind of like that song too.
He did.
I forgot to mention.
He did. That's a catchy record too.
Right. So we're not, like I'm saying, what we're saying, the front end, he established it. And so if you're in that culture, you get that culture. He was drawing people in so they could hear what he was going to have.
Yeah.
Like, preferably us who like Cole the way he is could have had that faster. Mm-hmm. But we understand.
Yeah, we do.
But we understand. It ain't gonna make me hate the album. I'm gonna rank it, whatever. But it's like when you get that concept, and I said I understand the praise for the album after hearing the whole entire album a few times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I understand. This was very smart, very thought out, and very intentional. And it was a message for the masses. And it was something he wanted the masses to hear.
Do you think this is more, this album will draw the casual listener more so to KOD than it was on For Your Eyes Only?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is a more casual album like, how Born Sinner was received. It'll be received more like that, and it is.
Yes. And that explains.
Right.
But the whole thing is, the statement I want to say is, you can receive this album on multiple levels.
Mm-hmm.
When you listen to it, based on where you are, it'll mean something to you on that level where you get it.
Favorite song off the album? Give me that in a couple minutes when you're ready.
Okay, and that's gonna be hard, because you know what I'm gonna say. But you can get this if you get it on a low level, you'll get it. If you get it on a deep level, you'll get it. If you have experience with this, you'll get it. It's like he's made something that could communicate to the masses on this project. And the album has something for everyone, even if you don't feel the whole entire album. There's something for everyone on this album, hip-hop wise.
Yeah.
And I know they like to compare him and Kendrick. That's like comparing LL and KRS-One.
It's only because they're on the same timeline.
But,
yeah.
LL and KRS-One both say they're number one and they respect each other.
Facts.
Let these two do that.
Facts.
Because they're not the same. They're both good for their own reasons, but they both are giving you something different.
Yeah.
And that's particularly them.
Yeah.
So you have I never thought something like that would happen, but it's happening again with Kendrick and J. Cole. They're not, they're not the same.
No.
But they're both they're both good.
They're not the same, but they have a lot in common.
Right. But so does KRS and LL.
Yes.
You
right.
Battle them. what happens? Even
You know what?
They don't.
If you don't have your favorite, give me your top three. That's a little fair because I don't have a favorite one yet, but I do have a top three.
Sure. I'll tell you what my favorite is going between.
Okay.
It's between Once an Addict and 1985.
Okay.
Once an Addict hit me because of some private family stuff.
Yes.
And then I Feel Him.
Yeah.
In 1985 is for the culture.
Yeah.
That hit me because that's for the culture.
Yeah.
That speaks to the culture. And then that year, the significance of that year in the hip hop. It's genius.
Yeah.
Intro to the Fall.
The Fall. Well, because he basically gave us a preview of what to expect from his next album.
Intro to the Fall of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave us a little nugget there, a goal to say, hey,
Yeah.
I got something coming next. Yeah.
Right. He ended the album strong. He basically, that's something I like about his albums.
Mm-hmm.
They have a complete thought. Everyone that I've mentioned, the ones I mess with, had a complete thought. And that's starting to be rare, and it shouldn't be. It's like, you listen to Kane's first albums, they had a complete thought. But they had flows in that thought in different situations. So this is well thought out. It's like Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly, damn, both of them were thought out very well.
Yeah.
And then you hit a Knife Wonder track and you're like, oh, Kendrick, nice.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way here on this album. Okay, I may not have been feeling this song particularly, but now I know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first times you hear Humble by itself away from the album, it's one thing. You hear Humble in the context of the album, it's another thing.
Yeah, but Humble shouldn't have been his first single. I still stand by that.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But when I heard it in context of the album,
yeah,
and where it was,
it made sense. Yes, it did match. It did.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like when you're waiting for the first single, you're like, really? And that song had to grow on me. But I have a feeling this album's gonna grow on me because of knowing what it is about. Mm-hmm. Maybe not everything, but other songs. You know what I'm saying? Outside of those last four.
Yeah.
But not everything, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
And so when you have people making albums like this, like him and Kendrick, like this, and Def, and there's something deep, and they could pull you in because you understand where it's coming from. And congratulations on the Pulitzer, Kendrick. Mm-hmm. And it's really rich. Compared to the other two, I love For Your Eyes. That was like, me. That was the album I wanted. Everybody was like, "What?" I'm sitting singing, I'm a folk. I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm jamming that in my car. My niece is like, "What's that?" That's J. Cole. There's a lot of stuff on that album. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But out of that, it's Once an Addict in 1985. Quite honestly. And right now they're running neck and neck. Friends isn't bad either.
No, it isn't.
Window
Pane is strong. Strong concept.
Ooh, Window Pane is hot.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah.
And it's hot. Like I said, the last 4 tracks is what I was like, okay, I got you. Okay, you were bringing us somewhere. Now we're gonna deal with this. Now, basically, he gave us a lot of stuff to deal with, and then he unpacked it.
Yeah.
And that's how this album's built.
So we're gonna have to wrap this up. So do you have
give the final thought?
Yeah. No, not really a final thought, but we're gonna go to our score.
Okay.
Now I can't ask Zaccheus, is unfair, but Cinema, what's your if you were to give it a score? We do our 1 to 5. 5 being the greatest. So what would you give it?
I'll give it a 3.5.
Wow. I'd give it that too. I guess we're on same page with that one. Let me give my top 3
because it's not average.
Right.
It's a little above average, but
yeah.
5. I try to make 5s rare and serious and mean something.
Obviously, yeah. 4 means it's a solid album. Right. I don't think this was a solid album. I think it fell short of a solid album.
Yeah, but it's still above average.
Yes, it is. It is. I'd give it a strong 3.5.
And it's gonna get listened. And it's gonna get listened to again.
Yeah, I think if it had more replay value, I'd give it a higher score.
Right. So, because now, like I said, I'm already pulling track.
Yeah. My top 3 for this album, in no particular order: Once an Addict, Window Pane, and 1985. I think those are the strongest tracks for me that have the replay value that I appreciate. But I think the casual fan is going to say that ATM, Motivate, and Kevin's Heart are their favorites.
And I like ATM. We were talking about that off air.
Mm-hmm.
I like ATM, and I like the cutoff.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to go back and mention that.
Right.
But that's from a producer's point of view, because I produce more than hip hop. I do pop and other genres. So, but when I'm looking at hip hop, the kind of hip hop we've described, the kind of hip hop we like. So we don't got to go to depth here. Yeah. But yeah, those 3 tracks are my top 3 too.
Okay.
So we basically, me and you see eye to eye on this album.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. So we're gonna get up out of here. That's about as much as we can say about his project. I mean, but we still like him. Speaking for me, I like him. I know you like him, Cinema. I know you like him, Zaccheus. So, but last question, because I asked this off air. This particular album, this particular concept that J. Cole had, was this album necessary?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Because of the culture we're in, and what's popular in this culture. Now, with the backpackers, it's not, because we're past it. But like what our kids hear, they need something to impact them. And you know, at the age where Cole is, he's hitting his 30s. He's starting to see things in life differently.
Yeah.
And he wants to leave something, you know, because he knows he's making a transition.
Yeah.
Because when you make a transition, your fans make that transition. Like we've transitioned.
Ask your question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, throughout the this album, did he talk about anything dealing with the Illuminati or?
I mean, he doesn't say Illuminati, but
he talks about the
he
effects
talks about
of it.
the industry. He talks about
Yeah,
he talks about the music industry. He spent a lot of time on the music industry. He was talking about the social ills of it,
right.
and he talked about the system that's behind it. I mean,
yeah,
I don't say Zaccheus, you know me. I had to stop using the words Illuminati because Illuminati is a vague term. So that's why I don't use the term anymore. Do I believe in the systematic property that it's assigned to and the acts of it? Yeah, I just don't say Illuminati anymore because, I mean, you know what I say when it comes to Illuminati. There's only one particular system that I could point to and hold accountable for all of this stuff from a physical grand scheme, and that is white supremacy. So anything that's under that is that, because they're not black people making decisions on our behalf in the Illuminati, because if they were, our lives would be a lot better. Our justice system would be different. We wouldn't have police brutality at the rate that we have it. We wouldn't have our civil rights violated like any other person in this country and in this world.
yeah.
So that's why I don't say Illuminati. Illuminati is something that white supremacy likes to say, your covert ones, because it takes the attentions off white supremacy and makes you think that, oh, it's not just a hate group. It's a conglomerate of people around the world who want to systematically disenfranchise us. I just described white supremacy. That ain't the Illuminati.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't say that. That's my stance on it.
And to answer your question, he talks about the industry and the culture, and it's really, he's talking about the same things, but he's talking about it from a different perspective.
Right.
That he's trying to communicate about the culture, how everything affects the culture. It's an underlaying of the culture of hip hop is all through it too. This album, while he's talking about the industry, while he's talking about the drugs, while he's talking about that. And what my takeaway was that after 85, it's like all this stuff affects the culture because it's hip hop, trap, and he literally says you're blaming trap. He doesn't say hip hop at one point, one song.
Mm-hmm.
And this is trap, he's very intentional with his terms.
Yeah.
And so you could see the separation of this hip hop, all these are elements of what the industry is, but he's very specific when he's dealing with something and clear and concise.
I'm going to say something that's pretty bold here. I think if Tupac was here today, he would probably do an album like this.
Yeah, because he constantly did.
Yeah, because I'm gonna quote something from All Eyes on Me movie. You're gonna recognize this as soon as I say this. Afina was talking to Pac. Afina said, "Be careful, because this world is gonna give you all the tools to destroy yourself." That's exactly what this concept was of this album.
Exactly.
Because what did it say? There was this quote throughout the album. This is, oh God, why am I forgetting now? She said something, choose wisely. I hate that I forgot that. You know what I'm talking about, Cinema. It's on almost every track.
Yeah, and there's reoccurring themes and there's things you'll hear over and over.
Right.
It's very intentional and it's on purpose. He knows what he was doing. He knew the concept he wanted to get across, and he knew what he wanted to drill into you.
and he had to place it throughout the album to
So
drive,
you get it.
so that you get it and drive the point home that yeah, you might like this song because it sounds good, but understand what I'm saying.
Exactly.
This was an album full of communication.
Right. And so I see him doing a modern flow to get the message to
the casual listeners.
Community.
Yeah, exactly.
He hit the casual, he hit the hardcore, he hit the thing. And that's why everyone says this album is genius.
Yeah.
Because ain't nothing new from A to Z, but it's been communicated so great.
Exactly. All right. We did good today. Yo, Zaccheus, any last thoughts?
But I did listen to J. Cole album. I'm gonna listen to it. Go listen to it. Understand what the brother is saying, and also, brothers and sisters out there, be mindful and careful of how you where you go to and where you go to congregate, because you never know who's watching.
Yeah. So, all right, Zaccheus, where can they reach you? Give your Twitter, your Facebook out.
You can definitely reach me on Zaccheus B73. That's on Zaccheus B73 on Instagram. Also, you can hit me up on Facebook, Wayne Zaccheus Bacchus. Also on Twitter, Wayne Bacchus 2 on Twitter. Definitely hit me up right there too.
All right. Yeah. Cinema, where can they reach you?
Cinemascapes Music on Facebook, or just look up Cinemascapes, the page. If you get Shamik Cinemascapes Jones, that's a gaming page. So you ain't even gonna get nothing on that. Cinemascapes on IG and Twitter.
All right. You can catch me at the Fifth General on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at the Fifth General, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, so we had a very good show today. We're going to see y'all next time on the Round Circle. Signing out, the Fifth General, Zaccheus and Cinemascapes. Peace.
Peace.